Sup guys, it's your boy Justin back with another book review. It's been a while. Today we're reviewing Stephen R. Donaldson's the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever, Book 1, Lord Bane, which was first published in 1977. It's the first book in the Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever Chronicles, which had like 6 books. So yeah, I first heard about this book from watching a book reviewer by, I forget the guy's name. It was like Brian Duffries or something, right? And I watched that review and I couldn't believe how crazy this book sounded, right? Because it's another isekai where the main character is from our world who gets magically transported to Fantasyland, right? So like the main character of this book, Thomas Covenant, is a author who, after like publishing his first book, and getting married and having a kid, discovers he has leprosy, right? He loses he loses 2 fingers off his right hand, right? And his wife leaves him and takes the kid. Everybody in his town, his town, like basically hates him or whatever, like shuns him. That's the word I was looking for. Shuns him, right? And he's bitter. He's bitter and alone, right? And he kind of forces himself to go into town once a month to pay his bills, right? After meeting a strange old man, right? He gets hit by a car and gets summoned to this fantasy world, right? Where he is told by Lord Fowl, who is basically the Dark Lord of this fantasy world. He tells him, go. You were summoned to this world to destroy me by that fool Lord Kevin, right? Who was like a savior, of this world, right? And he tells him, go and meet the lords and tell them this message. Lord Drool Rockworm holds the Staff of Law, which Drool Rockworm is basically this world's version of Golem, right? And that's cause for dismay. Go forth and warn the lords and tell them to go and reclaim the Staff of Law, right? Which is a great weapon of power wielded by the lords long ago during their battle of Lord Falbane, right? And he says tell them to go back and reclaim the staff, right? So he goes on this journey to go to find the to go and find Revelstone, which is the fortress of the lords, right? And yeah, but on the way, like Drool Rockworm sends his minions out to kill him, right? And the first half of the book is kind of boring. It only starts to pick up after he meets the Lord. He gets to Revelstone, right, with the help of Aterian, who was the mother of the girl Lena who found him, right? Who went to the Lordstat to become a lord but failed, right? The lords are basically mages, right? Who learn the lore of the heroes, right? And they basically gain power and become like lords, right? Which the mages in this world are kind of cool. They fight with staffs that can that can shoot fire, right? And so they fight with flaming staffs, which are pretty cool, right? Yeah, so the book picks up after he meets the Lords, right? And the reason why he was chosen uh, to go to this world is because he bears a resemblance um, to like a great hero from this world called Beric Halfhand, who in a battle lost half his right hand, right? And another reason why Thomas Covenant was chosen is because he's the white gold bearer, right? Which his wedding ring, which he still keeps, is made of white gold, right? And white gold is like a magical material in this world. It gives him great powers, right? So yeah, in the second half of the book, that's when it starts to pick up. They go on him and a group of warriors and the lords and their bodyguards, the Blood Guard, which are like Shaolin monks who are immortal, right? It's crazy, right? And they go on a quest to Mount Thunder to take back the Staff of Law from Jewel Rockworm, right? So yeah, what did I think about this book? One, this book is very controversial because it has one of the things the main character does. Um, Here's the thing, he 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 meets this girl named Lena who's like 16 years old, right? And she after meeting her, like she helps him get off like the off this like this like man-made tower, right? Takes him to her home, feeds him, right? Uh, cures him, um, cures him when like his when his hands were bleeding, right? And because if you're a leper, one of the things, the dangers of lepers is because they can easily get infected, right? And when that happens, they can lose fingers and toes, right? So she gives him this magical mud called Hurt Loam, and it cures his hands and like regenerates his dead nerves, because like lepers have dead nerves in their fingers and toes, right? Yeah. So like she did a lot of things for Thomas Covenant, cured him of his leprosy for one. And how does he repay her? Uh, he besmirches her maiden her honor. Like this young maiden, he besmirches her honor, right? AKA he fucking raped her, right? And not even in Berserk do you have shit like that. And I just find it funny that I reviewed a book called The Fifth Sorceress, where the main character of that book got raped by evil witches, right? And there's story reasons to explain why they would want to do that, because in that world, people with special blood can become powerful mages, and like he's from a royal bloodline where they would make the best mages, so that's why the witches would want to have sex with him, so they can like spawn more powerful mages, right? So like yeah, he does that to this 16-year-old girl, and for like it's not until the end of the book where he meets another young girl that he's like, oh fuck, I did that. Oh fuck, I shouldn't have done that. Where he kind of becomes remorseful, right? Because like he kind of treats this world like it's a dream, right? And none of it's happening. Even though this book takes like I think it takes like weeks. I don't fucking know, man. And it's like, holy fuck. what was the author thinking? Hey, I'm gonna have the main character of my book, like, do that to a girl, man. Oh my god. And it's just like, what the fuck? So, like, I just think it's fucked up that, the fifth sorceress gets called sexist and misogynistic for that, where here, this book, they have the main character do that, and, like, everybody loves this book. Why? Because this book came out in the 70s, right? And, it's, whatever. It's but, like, besides from that, the main character, besides from that fucking thing he did, the main character's a bitter asshole. And they explain, okay, why he's a bitter asshole, right? But it doesn't excuse the fucking fucked up thing he did at the, like, I think it was in chapter 8, which that scene was only 2 lines, right? It's not like if J.R.R. Martin wrote it, it would have been like a fucking whole chapter or some shit. But yeah, it's just like, what the fuck. So that's going to be the breaking point for a lot of people in this book. Other than that, I thought the book was well written. I liked it. I really liked the world, even though I thought at first like that the people in the fantasy world were a bunch of fucking hippies. They are badass and they have their moments, and I like the lords were cool. The blood guard, even though the way they're described, they don't look very cool, but the way they act, they were pretty cool, right? And I kind of like how, even though like Thomas Covenant is like, once people know he's the white gold bearer, they treat him like a lord or whatever. Even once in a while, even his asshole remarks gets on the people's nerves, and like, one of the lord, the Warhalf Quan, the general, was like, speak another word and I'll break your fucking arm, asshole. Which I really enjoyed that, because Thomas Covenant is a fucking asshole in more ways than one, right? But other than that, I like the cast of characters. The adventure, the villain is pretty cool, and it's not like in a lot of books where they kill him at the end of the book. He's still out there plotting, scheming. That was, he seems like an interesting villain, right? And yeah, the magic system is pretty cool. One problem I have with this book, another problem I have with the book, is that Thomas Covenant, even though he basically has the ability to one-shot people he's fighting with his staff, because like he's kind of like a mage in this book, right? He resembles a mage in the book. He, with the power of his white gold ring, every time he hits somebody, right, he can basically one-shot people, but he never fights. He only fights like once in the fucking book, right? Or sorry, twice in the book, right? He only fights twice in the book, right? Like, you have all these fights, all these battles where people are fucking dying and refuses to fight, right? And it's like, oh, this fucking pussy. Right? And like, the book, also I should mention, like, the book, yeah, I don't know, the book, there's like female warriors in the book, right? And most of the characters who die are like female. So it's like the female warriors and stuff. So it's like they're getting equal representation, but they're not like Mary Sue's, they're getting killed left and right. And it's like, what the fuck? I thought that was strange. Also, one thing that fucking bothered me in the book is that they get to Mount Thunder, right? The enemy stronghold, and constantly they're taking. Something would happen, and then they would take a break, eat, rest, and it would be like that back and forth, and it's like, man, that really kills the fucking tension of what's supposed to be the fucking finale. Which I forgot to mention, this book is like 474 pages, right? Not including the appendix, right? So it's a it's a decent read, right? Which is good. Like, not every fucking fantasy series needs to have, like, every volume of their series to be like 1,000 pages. Fuck that. Especially, I'm thinking of reviewing Patrick Rothfuss's Wise Man Fears, which is the second book in the series, and that I just looked at it, and it's 999 pages. What the fuck? The first book was less than 800. Like, what the hell, man? So that annoys the shit out of me. So it's kind of good that this was, it's, decent length book, right? But yeah, like, it's the thing, like I mentioned in the beginning of the book. Is this book good? Yes, but its major problem is the unlikable protagonist, right? It's just gonna make and break it to a lot of people, right? And like, I didn't really get the dark, like, a lot of people call this grim dark fantasy. It didn't really get that dark to me, until, like, like near the end of the book. Because besides from the fucked up thing he did at the beginning of the book, like, this world didn't seem like a dark fantasy world, to be honest. But it's like transitioning towards one, because it's like, oh, when he shows up, that's when, like, shit starts to go bad. Right. Yeah. So yeah, if I were to give this book a rating, I'm somewhere between a 6.5 and a 6. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's good, but it's like the protagonist is not the isn't pretty, kind of an asshole, and the action scenes aren't written that well, in my opinion. But most, it's a book, so you're not really reading the book for action scenes anyway, right? Well, very few books, in my opinion, have good action scenes, right? That I've read. So yeah, our next book review is going to be the second Dragonlance book, Dragons of Winter Night. Dragonlance Chronicles Volume 2. Make sure to check that out, which I have a review for the first book.